trucker's life on the road.
Breakfast. I always snack on things when I'm in the truck, so even when I'm driving. Like even if it's a chocolate bar or whatever, and it keeps you going. You know, you gotta learn to trust each other. Like I try to make the trip as nice as possible, and I do my shift, and when I'm done, I go to bed and he does it, and you know, but things do happen on the road. Like you run into animals and everything else, so on and so on, but you kind of adjust to it.
From Washington border to Oregon, the traffic's really heavy. I usually listen to the radio to see if there's any accidents. If you can catch it in time, you can pull off the road and go into the truck stop and grab a nap. If you happen to be out in the freeway when there's a bad accident, you can sit there for 2 or 3 hours waiting for them to clear it up, especially if it's fatality. I've been fortunate enough not to have an accident, like a chargeable accident, since I've been driving a truck. Touch wood. But I've come close. You scare yourself a couple of times, then you realize that you're not invincible, then you start to get a schedule. You got to know your limits, know when to pull over. You got to test yourself and find out how far you can go, and then you know what your limits are.
Thank you.
Some more coffee?
Yeah, please. When you get going here into the cold, you need high carbohydrate, a hot meal. When you're working in the cold, you have to have a fairly heavy meal. Normally, I have a lighter breakfast, but if it's warmer out, I don't eat much at all. Younger and younger guys are having health problems, having heart attacks. Yes, please. You know, it's a concern, eh? And life insurance for us guys, just term life insurance is basically non-existent. Never seen nobody?
To this day, I'm still healthy. I got no problems with my health. Like my dad he just had his 76th birthday, and he's healthier than whatever. And I come from the same genes as him, and I'm still healthy.
He smokes?
No, my dad's never smoked.
I find that a lot of people let themselves go. It's easy to do. Like there's a lot of food at your disposal. You go into the truck stop and sit down at a buffet twice a day if you want. Then go and lay down in the truck and go to sleep after you eat. Before you know it, you put 50 pounds on it. A lot of people smoke. You know, there's very little exercise involved unless you force yourself to exercise. There's definitely a lot of people driving trucks that are out of shape. But, you know, that's kind of goes with the territory, I guess. What kind of soup have you got today?
Italian sausage vegetable soup.
I'll get a bowl of soup and order toast, whole wheat toast.
Whole wheat toast?
Yeah.
Most of the drivers that I know enjoy the work they're doing. It's getting tougher every year. Most of the drivers are making the same amount of money today they were 20 years ago. And they don't get the cost of living raises that a lot of people get. But then again, most of them are their own person out on the road, which counts for a lot.
This is the bottom of Tombstone Mountain. This is our first major obstacle, getting over this mountain here. Well, generally speaking, the If we don't spin here, we're gonna go over the top. Anybody on Tombstone? Look out, kids! Look out, there you go. There's an area here at the bottom of Windy Pass. 10, 15 years ago, the wind used to blow snowbanks across the road. It hasn't for years and years. So nobody paid any attention to it. I came around a curve. That snowbank was back there again. I'd never ever seen it. And I hit it. I couldn't stop. And my tractor went through, but my trailer went up in the air and over the edge of the bank. Pulled my tractor over on its side. It was about 9:15 in the morning. But we had a howler wind blowing, like right at that spot. The rest of it was just like this. Came around the corner, there's a 4-foot frozen snowbank all the way across the highway. Like one guy will say, well, were you going too fast? Well, define too fast. No, I wasn't going too fast around that corner. I was doing the right speed. That snowbank just didn't belong there.
People don't realize that there's this many trucks in one area, but California is a busy state, and there's a lot of produce coming in and out, a lot of freight, and also the weather's not that good right now. There's snow up in the mountains, and that could be holding up some of these guys. It's busier than it usually is.
Oh man, it's been full for 2 weeks. The rain, it's just got everything messed up. I pull a reefer and you just sit. Can't get out of here. Just, you know, I mean, it's eating me up. It's taking everything I made off the last load to sit here for 3 days.
What are you even saying? You know, you might as well be sitting at home. You can feel for him. I'm the same way. I'd rather be sitting at home. I don't want to be sitting out here 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles away from home, waiting for a load. Just a broken dust cover for the brakes. I just took it off in case it fell off and went into the traffic lanes and hit somebody, or just happened to notice it was loose and broke. It probably would have been alright for a while, but better to be safe than sorry. There's too much traffic out here.
Being together like this, it's important that both guys be clean, or both guys be real dirty, I guess, one of the two, but it works itself out. Hi, Joan.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. You take the first shower, Ed.
Sure, Keith.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
The old truckers, you'd never believe it, listening to them fight and squabble on the road, that how tight-knit bunch of guys they are. And once we hit there, it doesn't matter what company we work for, you know, we're just a bunch of guys working together, and they squabble like a bunch of old women, but as soon as anything gets tense, they all just back up together like a bunch of buffalo. Any one of those guys, like, I'd pick them, like, over anybody, you know, to hang my hat with. I do not want to start moving furniture.
You still don't?
No. So before you guys leave, I'll pay you guys just to come up here for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you today? It's Don. I was just wondering about getting fuel. Do you want me to get fuel in Bakersfield or Lebec? That's where you make or lose it, the price of fuel. He's really careful where he gets his fuel. And now with the internet, he can monitor the prices every day. If he can save a cent or two a liter, it makes a lot of difference. Like sometimes we get up to 1,000 liters in Ontario, so that's, you know, be around 60. I figured it out and it'd be about $60.
Right.
right now, the price of fuel, that's killing everybody. If it goes up 10 cents a gallon, that's 10 cents right off the top of your profit. The way I'm paid is kind of paid on performance and the amount of money the truck makes. So if the boss is making more money, I'm going to make more money.
I think it's what, 4.5 hours, isn't it? Isn't it? How many hours?
What?
4.5 hours?
Depends. Weather's good. We work 8 hours and then go to bed for 8 hours. So we have basically 8 hours on, 8 hours off, and that's on a continuous basis to Inuvik. And then the night we get to Inuvik, we both sleep until we begin our unloading schedule in Inuvik Monday morning. But the truck never stops from the time we leave to the time we get there, except for meal breaks and fueling. And we stop about every 3 hours and get out and check everything over. So you're not in there for 8 hours at a time.
I think the car is the last place a person can have their own freedom or whatever. They're coming out of the city now, look at them. There's more traffic and people have cell phones and they're distracted. People do things that they shouldn't do. They'll sit there and drive along beside you and they'll be talking on the phone. I've seen the women putting their makeup on and doing, people reading the paper. I've seen guys with laptop computers on their lap. You can look down and see them as they're going by. I can't believe it, what they're doing. It's insane, really. Before I get into the city, I phone ahead and get directions. You don't want to drive into a place like LA and hope you can find the place. There's not too many truck stops neither in LA, so the ones that are there are usually full. And then they have reputations too that some of them aren't very safe. So the idea is to get into LA, get unloaded, and get out, basically, if you can.
You're leaving the Yukon, you're entering the Northwest Territories. I enjoy driving at night. I enjoy the stars and the night wildlife, and at the same time, I'm sitting on 100,000 pounds of steel and groceries, and I'm responsible for it all, as well as for my partner's well-being. There's basically no one to bother me, and I get the job done, and that's the attraction, I think. If you run where you're running single and you don't have a second driver and you're continually pushing, then that becomes a problem. But basically, in our situation of running double, it's basically a non-issue.
We got a problem here with the reefer. Like, that's the refrigerated unit on the trailer. Like, I checked the coolant level the other day and it was leaking, and now it's really low, so I'll have to get some coolant and see if I can find the leak, but it's hard to see in there. It's hard to see where it's leaking from. It's good that I found it out now rather than going down there and putting the load on, start the reefer up, and that's why it's always good to check this stuff. These loads are time oriented. You don't want to be sitting at the dock and turn the reefer on, then it's not going to run. So nothing runs perfect all the time. You got to deal with it. It's just a part of the job.